Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because no one has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al.
No one knows just how this whole big bad wolf thing just got started, but it's all rang.
Maybe it's because wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way they are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think people were big and bad too.
But the whole big bad thing, it's all rang.
The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar.
Way back and once upon a time, our friend the wolf was making a birthday cake for stupid old granny.
He had a terrible sneezing cold.
He ran out of sugar.
So he walked down the street to ask his neighbor for a cup of sugar.
Now this neighbor was a pig.
And he wasn't too bright either.
But his whole house had a straw.
Can you believe it? Who in his right mind would make a house out of straw?
So of course, the minute the wolf knocked on the door, it fell right in, and he didn't just want to walk into someone else's house.
So he called,
Little pig, are you in?
No answer.
He was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for his dear old granny's birthday cake.
That's when his nose started to itch.
he
Well-
felt a sneeze coming out.
Well, he huffed, and he snuffed, and he sneezed, a great sneeze.
And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig dead as a doornail.
He had been home the whole time.
Think of it as a cheeseburger just lying there. He was getting a little better, but he still didn't have his cup of sugar.
So he went to the next neighbor's house.
This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house with sticks.
Ring the doorbell in the stick house.
Nobody answered.
He called, Mr. Pig, are you in?
He yelled back, "Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chin.
He had grabbed the doorknob when he felt another sneeze coming on.
He
huffed, and he snuffed.
And he tried to cover his mouth, but he sneezed a great sneeze.
You're not going to believe it, but this guy's house burned down just like his brother's.
When the dust cleared, there was the second pig dead as a doornail.
Wolf's honor. Now you know food will spoil if you leave it out in the open.
So the wolf did the only thing there was to do. He had dinner again.
Think of it as a second helping.
He was getting awfully full, but his cold was feeling a little better.
He still didn't have that cup of sugar for his due of Granny's birthday cake.
So the wolf went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig further.
He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks.
The wolf knocked on the brick house, no answer.
Mr. Pig, are you in?
And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again.
Talk about impolite.
Probably had a whole sack full of sugar.
And he wouldn't give the wolf even one cup for his dear, sweet old granny birthday's cake.
What a pig.
The wolf was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when he felt his cold coming on.
He huffed, and he snuffed, and he sneezed once again. The third little pig yelled, "And your granny can sit on a pin."
The wolf was usually a pretty calm fellow, but when he heard somebody talk about his dear, sweet old granny like that, he went a little crazy.
When cops drove up, of course he was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time the wolf was huffing and puffing, sneezing and making a weird scene.
The rest, as they say, is history.
The news reporters found out about the two pigs had for dinner.
They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting,
They just at the store with all that huff and puff and blow your house down stuff.
and they made him the big bad wolf.
That's it.
The real story.
I was framed.
But maybe you could loan him a cup of sugar.